we're here in the chateau. So it's a merger of the old with the new. And as we talk about the future now, and every organization, every sector, every industry is dealing with technology and the kind of technology disruption, as well as the opportunities that it's throwing up. What does it mean for you here at the IOC? How are you using digitization? Do you have a view on what AI could do in terms of shaping the future of the games?
That's a big topic, you know. First of all this digitalization, you know, has led, and this is the principle under which we have to address then the challenges, but even more the opportunities. That it is not like in the past anymore, that people and young people at some stage in their life will be confronted with sport. This is not true anymore.
They'll be confronted with Instagram or sport on Instagram,
yeah,
maybe.
But they can find many other
yes.
distractions than sport. So it means we cannot wait anymore for the young people to come to us. We have to go where they are, in the real world and in the digital world. In the digital world, this means two things. The first, what is obvious, you know, it's communication. We have to go to Instagram, we have to go to the social platforms. We have to get our message across. So this is why as a major part of our reforms 10 years ago, we created the Digital Olympic Channel, which is now already reformed again, but because of all this reform of the reform, very successful. And the other is that we have to embrace the appearance of eSports, while again respecting our values. That means, in a nutshell, we cannot identify ourselves with any games which are against our values. So Olympic values and killer games, there is a red line between. But we can embrace, in particular, virtual sports, means where the physical activity is still existing. Take cycling. You know, you can have cycling programs digitally, which are as demanding as somebody cycling on the road. So why?
So simulated online.
Yeah. How could we ignore this? You know, and you have these competitions. You can. Today, you can cycle your own Tour de France at home with a digital program, and you can even compete with each other. And there are these competition groups.
So is that the future? Are we likely to see virtual sport being included at some point?
That is clearly part of the future. Because it's not only cycling, even now in combat sports, you're going to see it, and we have, started to embrace, to appreciate this development. And just a couple of weeks ago, we had in Singapore for the very first time an Olympic eSports final week, where there were competitions in particular in this kind of virtual sports, but where we also continued and deepened our dialogue with this industry, with the publishers and with the gamers and everybody involved. We cannot ignore this.
So online gaming at some point in the future could be part of the Olympic Games?
Online sports. Online sports, that will be a decision for the future. And this is, this eSports finally is a kind of testing the waters. We have to see how it goes. Whether, these, the virtual sports do really keep or gain more attractivity, because we also have to see that the virtual sports do only have a very small market share in the overall e-gaming business. So we have to see how this is developing. And then we will have, I think, in principle, 3 options. Either to say, doesn't work, thank you very much, you do your own thing in this business. Or to say some of these virtual sports could be a discipline of the traditional sport in the Olympic Games, or to keep organizing an own event like this Olympic eSports final there for eSports. This will take some time.
This is a classic example of looking at opportunities in adjacencies, and you're looking at eSports as a possible adjacency at this point in time. For the lack of a better word, for the Olympic mega franchise, so to speak, what are the other adjacencies from a revenue point of view, from a monetization perspective, that you're looking at outside of the games and the broadcast and media rights?
We are not looking at this from a monetizing point of view. We are a values-based organization, and therefore, for us, it is about staying relevant. And this eSports engagement, for instance, is an investment we are taking. We did not look for business in this. For us, it's a means to stay relevant in this young generation and in this very particular community. And but the more interesting is maybe because this eSports is very obvious. It's let's say easy in one way to deal with, and also to anticipate what may happen and not what.
What's the hard one?
No, not the hard one. The more interesting one is AI. What will happen there? Because this has the potential to change not only all our society, but when the society changes, also sport changes. And there are a number of challenges. But there are also, huge opportunities, and in every aspect of sport. It will already be a difference on how the young generation will find access to sport. It will create a big difference in how athletes will be training. This will be much more individualized. This will be much less related to a particular coach. This will be not related so much anymore to national coaches. It will change the whole refereeing and judging system. And it will also change the organization of the games in very obvious ways. Television, will be produced very differently in times of AI than now. But in particular, with regard to spectators, the big question will be, will the immersive experience, AI together with the metaverse, with AR, can create, will this lead to the people to say, okay, great, I get everything I want at home on my couch?
Yeah.
Or will they say, I have so much individual experience in all my life, in my business, and I'm longing to be in a community, and to go out there, and even if they go out, they will consume it very differently than today. So the potential is enormous, and also the challenges, of course, are there. And this is the more interesting part.
No, you're absolutely right. This is very interesting because as you speak, I'm thinking that is this the next wave of democratization of high performance sport? Because as you pointed out, it could be a kid sitting some part of the world with no access to a high performance coach will now suddenly be able to have that kind of training, that kind of simulation that AI might provide. Is this the next leap when we talk about democratizing high performance sport?
Definitely, this is one of the potentials. So far, what digitalization could do in this respect was, let's say, improving an already existing high-level training or athlete. It could be more subtle, but then potentially every kid on this planet can have access to a high-performance coach, adapted to their body, adapted to their emotions and their favoring sport. This is a huge potential. At the same time, it's a challenge because where does such an almost absolute individualization lead to? Because at the end, then these kids, the training can be very individual, but the competition then will be either in a team or it will be a competition with others. And how will they adjust then, their mindset? All of a sudden, being 90% of the year, alone with their personal coach on the screen, and then all of a sudden
competing in the real world. But what I want to understand from you, if you had a chance to get a do-over, would you rather compete now with AI and ML and all and access to digital technologies, or were you happier in 1976? Is it harder to win today though with the access to so much technology that's constantly enhancing and improving your odds?
Everything in life has its time, and this I respect very much. And I'm very, I'm somehow romantic about my time as an athlete and this generation. And I would not like to miss, these romantic times of being an athlete and making these experiences. But I would also not like to miss the opportunity I have now to help and to contribute to prepare the sport for the future.